Hi everyone. What I'd like to talk to you about today is the on the fixed price service plans that are available when you pick up your new Honda motorcycle. Um, Now it's important to note that I'm only speaking about those service plans that are available in the UK, although I suspect similar will be available in other countries. And for these, I suggest you search through the Honda website, and you'll be able to find details about them. Yeah. But anyway, so my focus today is going to be on those plans that are available for new motorcycles in the UK. Although Honda do provide similar tailored plans for motorcycles older than 2 years. So if you're not happy to do your own maintenance, or you don't want to use a local third party, you can extend them. But all I'm going to be talking about today is those fixed plans that are applicable to new motorcycles. So, so when I picked up the bike from the dealer, I was made aware of these plans, but I deferred my decision to buy until I found out a bit more about them. Um, but I was advised by the dealer that there was two constraints to purchasing the plan, and these were being that I needed to have the plan in place and have paid for the plan before the 600 mile first service, and also I needed to have procured the plan before within 30 days of taking ownership of the bike. So even though I was able to sort of take some more time to find out about them, the clock was ticking. So I've done some research. I've spoken to the dealer to try and sort of get a bit more about them, and that's what I'm going to share with you now. So you will see on the screen that there are two plans for each motorcycle band, and those bands are structured around the CC, the cubic capacity of your motorcycle. And what you can see on the screen at the moment is the 2023 prices. So that's what I'll sort of be looking to pay if I take one of these up. As you can see, there are two types of plans within each band. And these are the annual service plan and the scheduled service plan. What you will note there is that there's a £200 difference in cost between Band 2 and Band 3 motorcycles, between those annual and service plans, and an £100 difference for Band 1. So that made me question what it was I was going to be getting in a scheduled service plan against an annual service plan, particularly as the NC 750X that I bought requires a 600 mile service, an 8,000 mile service, and a 16,000 mile service, or an annual service if you don't do those mileages. So I was interested to understand what I was paying an extra £200 for if I elected for the scheduled service plan. So um, the scheduled service plan does include some extras, and what that actually includes is the valve clearance adjustment that would normally take place for the NC 750X at 16,000 miles. So you get free services within a 2 year period within the plans. So if you go on the scheduled service plan, that would involve your 600 mile service, your 8,000 mile service, and your 16,000 mile service, which involves the valve clearances. And that's important to understand because it may influence your buying decision. So the annual service plan it includes its free services within the 2 year period, exactly the same. But that's based upon your 600 mile service and two annual services, the details of which can be shown in your service book. So if you have a look in your service book, it will show you a little chart with things that need to be checked and changed. And there is a mileage sort of scheduled service and an annual service. So it's on the annual one, you're paying for those checks and oil changes and things that happen annually. And I think the main important bit there is if you don't intend or won't achieve 16,000 miles in 2 years, then potentially you're paying a lot more money than you need to. I spoke with Honda about this, and I said, well, if I went for the scheduled service and I don't achieve the 16,000 miles, and would you still do the valve check? as the second service? And their answer was no. Their answer was what they would then carry out was an annual check instead. So unless you're confident that you're going to be able to cover 16,000 miles in 2 years, you're potentially paying a lot more money um, for, for that service than you potentially need to. And it's prepaid, so there's no chance of getting a refund. So what I've elected to do is to go for the annual plan. Um, there is the potential that I might actually reach 16,000 miles, but the valve clearances on the NC750X are very simple to do. And as I do all my own maintenance, actually I'm quite looking forward to doing them. And I don't think it's going to be particularly challenging, and I don't think it's going to take a lot of time. So I've elected to go for the annual plan. And if, like I say, if I do um, get to the point where the valve clearances are doing, I'll do them myself, and they're relatively straightforward if you understand how they work. So there's nothing significant. If you had a different type of bike, when you do the valve clearances on my Honda Pan, you can check them relatively straightforward, but if you need to adjust them, they've got ship buckets and shims and the cam shafts, and that's a much more complicated and time-consuming affair. So if you had a bike that had that style of engine, then this would probably be a good bet to go for the scheduled service, because it's quite time consuming to being able to remove camshafts and lift the buckets, get the shims, and that is sort of a bit more challenging for the majority of people. So um, so that's what I've done. I've gone and bought it and I've prepaid it. So why did I do that then? Why didn't I just pay as I went? Well, um, part of me was I was wanted while it's in the warranty period, the 2 year warranty period. Um, I wanted genuine underparts to be used, and I will continue to use genuine underparts when I'm servicing it myself. And putting it through the dealer was always going to be the case. And I didn't know what was going to happen to the service costs over time. So this way, it's prepaid. I pay a fixed fee. Whatever happens to the increase in service costs or in parts costs, it's all going to be covered. So it's a known cost. Also, as it's prepaid, I haven't got to worry about those service costs throughout that warranty period. So whenever it needs doing, I'll just book it in, get it done, and I haven't got to worry about anything sort of finding money to get services done and the like. Not that's particularly an issue, but it could be for some people. Um, one of the sort of other advantages that I think it's given me is that I can just sort of relax about it and know that if anything does go wrong with the bike, it's definitely going to be covered by the warranty. Because it would have been serviced through an Honda service plan by an Honda dealer, and there's going to be no disputes about whether if I'd got it serviced by a third party or done it myself, whether the job had been done properly, and I'd have some comeback, and that was good. So, that's my reasons. Incidentally, I mentioned a 2 year warranty period. When I went to pick the bike up, I was given the option to extend that to 3 years. I personally didn't take that, but that is an option for potentially for new buyers when you go there. And if that's what you want, then it's worth having a look at that. But I elected not to do that. So my first service is scheduled in for the 2nd of March. I'm sort of following my trip to the two moors down in the southwest, Dartmoor and Exmoor, and I'll let you know how that goes afterwards. And also when I book it in, once I pick it up from that first service, if there's anything wrong or any of the experience is poor, I'll come back and let you know and share my experience. Anyway, as always, feel free to ask any questions. I may have the answers, I may not, but feel free to ask and I'll try to clarify anything that I've explained in this video. Anyway, I hope that helps somebody. Um, Bye all.